Okay. Also, I would recommend if do you have a seat, a chair on which you're sitting?
Yeah, I am on sofa actually right now.
Which is fine, but
Uh,
if you can put your mobile, on a table or something, because I want the body to be as you are free with both the hands and
okay,
shoulders.
both. Just give me
Take your time.
2 minutes. Yeah.
Take your time.
Just.
How do we tilt it? Mm.
Is it okay?
It's landscape, but it has gone the other way.
Okay. Just wait. Is it fine like this?
Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Do you remember the 4 fundamental hacks from the speaking section still?
Yeah. Yes.
Can we recall that just to start the base?
Okay. First is like your expressions. When you talk, like it is too far. That you already gave example. So I will say like it is too far. So, like
Right.
yeah.
So this one is
And
called tonality. So
yeah, about
tonality
tonality.
is, even the change in the speed. So when you
Yeah.
get excited about something, you can emphasize on the words, be a bit more fast.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
when you are talking about something intellectual, then you can be more calm, composed. And this variation helps in
Yeah.
speaking. Yeah, that's
Yes. Yes. And the other ones I don't remember.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
So, one is simple over complex, which is
Okay.
just a hack that means you don't have to have a high vocabulary to score
Yeah.
high marks. All you have to do is simple sentences and
Yeah.
easy words that you use in your daily language, and that's it.
Okay.
Another one is fluency does not mean fast, which
Yeah.
means that if you try to speak fast to come across as someone who's a native English speaker, that's not what they're looking at. Instead, if you hear the speeches of any actor, any politician who are the best public speakers, who have the best influence of the crowd, they actually speak extremely slow. So, fluency means to speak, think and speak in a very calm and composed manner rather than trying to speak fast because the native people who live in this
Yeah.
country speak very fast.
Yes, I get nervous sometimes when I speak in front of examiner. I
Yeah,
speak fast.
perfect. Yeah, this is one of the biggest things. And
Yeah.
through this next 50 minutes or so, you will learn as well how to control the nervousness and how to identify when you're being nervous. So don't worry about that.
Okay.
And then the last is tell, don't speak. What that means is a lot of times you'll realize that once you get nervous, or even when you're not nervous, but you have a lot of content to say, you just start speaking to yourself or to the wall and you go in one flow. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
of that, the better way of speaking is that, like when two friends are having conversation, we are literally, we say something, there's a natural pause in there, so we see the other person is listening, it is getting into his or her head, and there is a very two-way kind of communication when we are talking to someone. So try to tell as if you're telling what you do. You are telling about your city. You're telling your opinion on social media or something. And you wait for the other person to come across and understand you rather than, just go on a flow that I think social media is good because of blah, 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 blah reason, da, da, da. Instead
Yeah.
of going in the train, have a very slow telling. body language, and that will help. So this is the fundamentals, but there's a lot of other things that we'll look at in this video. For that, let's just directly bounce into the part 1 questions, and after a few questions, I will stop you and then give you a bit of feedback.
All right.
So tell me from the start, where are you based currently?
I'm living. I'm living at my home, that is in village Gujarwal, near about 25 kilometers from Ludhiana district. It's in Punjab, India.
And tell me some things that you like about your city or your village.
The most thing I like about my city is that it's an industrial hub, and most of the people have opportunities to get jobs over here, rather than they want to go to metropolitan cities or something like major cities of India. So I like this most because everyone get job near to their home.
And what are some of the industries that are famous in your area?
Uh, the most famous industry is Hero Cycles. It is India-based industry, and it exports major cycle parts to all parts of the world.
And tell me some things that you do not like about the city you live in.
Uh, that I don't like about my city is that its air pollution is at alarming rate here. Actually, because of industry, this is the main fact that pollution is not under control, and authorities and the social government is also not doing the required steps to curtail these problems.
And now tell me about the work that you do.
I'm working as assistant professor in Ludhiana group of colleges. It's about 20 kilometers on Firozpur Road of Ludhiana city, and I'm working there in electrical engineering department as I did my masters in electrical engineering. So this is the basic requirement to be a assistant professor in engineering college.
And what is it about your work that you really enjoy?
I really enjoy about my work is that to give practical knowledge to the students, because this is the most important part of the learning. So if the students know every practical thing they are doing in theoretical knowledge, so they will get success in their life, and they can get their desired jobs in coming future.
And something that you do not enjoy about your work?
I do not enjoy the thing about my work is that sometimes when I have to give lectures, more lectures, like sometimes I have a busy schedule, normally I have 1 to 2 lectures a day. But sometimes due to some absence of my colleague, I have to give lectures 3 to 4. That is not good for me, and I don't feel better when I give
Okay.
lectures. Yeah.
Right. So we're gonna take our first break and a feedback session.
Okay.
Now I can pretty much see why you got 7 last time and why you'll get 7 again,
Yes.
because your base is in English. What I mean
Yes.
by that is that you're not one of those who are thinking in a native language and then they are trying to convert their words into English. You are pretty simply thinking in English, speaking in English, and there's a flow to your sentences. There's a
Yes.
couple of times there was a grammatical error, but they'll get ignored in a large scheme of things. It was a
Okay.
very fluent English speaking answers and right
Okay.
to the point. So that part is pretty much covered. Of
Right.
course, there will be more things about it when once we go to part 2, where it will be less about you and more about your opinions. So we'll get to that later. But in a basic way, it's part 1 is a 7 part. Few
Okay.
things to start now incorporating in your language. So the first is tonality.
Yes.
Hugely missing. So once you start speaking something, you get, and once you look at your video in the recording, you'll see you speak in one pitch, in
Yeah. One thing.
exactly same gap between words, same flow. It's like just so for example, one thing that I do not like about my lecture is that sometimes I have to give 3 or 4 lectures instead of 1 or 2 lectures because my colleagues are missing sometimes, and that is what I don't like about my job. So this is exactly one tone, one pitch.
Yeah.
Now to take it from 7 to 8 plus, try it something like this, which is I really like my job, but if there's one thing I don't like about it is that sometimes my colleagues, if they do not show up, then I have to give extra lectures on their behalf as well. So from 1 to 2 lectures, I end up giving 3 or 4 lectures. And that is something which becomes too stressful for me and I don't like. Now, a few
Okay.
things that happen in there. One, there's a full body language, which is guiding the listener. So I'm guiding the listener in a way that there's something I don't like, that from 1 or 2 lectures, I end up giving 3 or 4 lectures, and I don't like that. So there's a full body language there for
Okay.
that. That's why I said, leave the mobile. So I wanted your hands to come up.
Okay.
Bring your hands and guide the listener over to the thoughts that you're telling them with hands like da da da, with 1 2, with I love my job, you bang your hands and you go all in. The other thing is tonality, which is I don't like
Okay.
don't there's a focus on that. It becomes
Okay.
too stressful or something. Otherwise, I love my job because I get to impart knowledge on students. There's a love. So they just uh,
Okay.
emphasis on some words, variation of the speed, which is like, to give you a variation example. So variation example is like, uh, sometimes I love my job because I only have to give 1 or 2 lectures. But other times, when my colleagues are absent, I have to take their work as well. So there's a fast one and there's a slow one.
Okay.
So this is the variation of the speed. And and of course it will come with practice, but we're just putting in everything that slowly and slowly as the next 40-45 minutes go on, your mind start wrapping itself around.
Okay.
So this is for part one. Let's just focus on these things. We'll get into the other stuff about structuring and everything in part two. But for part one, because you have the basic English of 7,
Okay.
let's put up tonality and body language
On body language. All right.
and see how it goes.
Yeah.
One hack that I use is rigging my mind to release the hormones of confidence, which in males are testosterones, to become dominant. And how to do that is that once you go and take the chair, you get your shoulders back and straight instead
Okay.
of
Like this.
instead of the couching position. If you go,
Yeah.
and instead of your legs being this, open the legs up under the table. The examiner will never get to see. It's a
Okay.
very animalistic way. The way we
Okay.
release our testosterone is that the moment you open your leg, your body feels like you're the alpha wolf in the situation, and
Like this.
yeah, and you're here to dominate. And once you feel like I'm here to dominate, your mind automatically, your tone becomes higher, your ideas start coming faster, and you become the more confident person between you and the examiner. And once you become the most confident person, you'll see your game will change. Do you
Yes.
play any sports? Like
Yeah.
cricket or
Yeah.
something?
I'm hockey player.
Yeah, so in
Yeah.
same principle in any
Yeah.
sports. The
Yeah.
days you're feeling confidence, your
Yeah.
mind, your reflexes are fast. You're
Yeah.
the pass is fast. You are looking at which corner of the goal you have to throw, and it will go in there. And the
Yes.
days you're feeling low, it just takes so much effort. So use
Yes.
your body language to rig your mind into feeling confident, and you'll see that your performance will increase.
Okay.
Okay, with that, let's get into some more part one questions and let's get your energy a bit up.
Okay.
So tell me about some of the hobbies that you do.
Actually, I have a hobby of traveling. Most of the time, I like to travel long distances with my friends and sometimes with the family also. But I most of the time I prefer to go with my friends on hillsides and sometimes on plain areas.
And what about the food? What kind of food do you enjoy?
I actually like to eat the healthy food, not food like that is oily. And most of the times, as I have a daily routine of eating healthy things, So whenever I go outside in any restaurant, I prefer to go to that restaurant where oily food or junk food is less as compared to the healthy food.
Got it.
Yeah.
Um, do you like reading articles or books?
Yes, I do like reading articles as I am now. Right now, I am preparing for IELTS, so I do reading daily in the morning the opinion and editorial section of newspaper. So it can enhance my reading skills and listening skills as well. So this is my daily routine.
Okay. Tell me about the weekends. How are some of the typical weekends look like in your routine?
On weekends, most of the times I do traveling with my friends to the nearby cities. Sometimes we go to Chandigarh or sometimes we go to New Delhi and enjoy there with our other friends who are already working there and doing jobs over there. So it is good time to enjoy each other's company after weekends.
And tell me about the movies. Do you love or enjoy watching movies?
Yes, I do like watching movies like action movies and comedy movies.
Any favorite movie that comes to your mind?
Right now, recently I have watched a Punjabi movie. Its name was Manje Bistre 2, and it was the second version of the movie. First version came last year, and this year its second version also came. It is totally comedy movie, and it is traditional and culture based movie because they have showed how most of the people in the past uh, get the manje bestre from their homes or their neighbors, and right now they are in the Canada, in the foreign country. They are following same culture to collect manje bestre from their neighbors.
That looks like such an interesting concept of the movie.
Yes,
Ah, I can relate to that about this taking manje bistre in the gaon and the villages.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah,
this must be a good comedy.
yeah,
So I saw that there was a bit of hand movement started showing up.
yes,
There is a huge invisible script in your head, which is
which is
letting
not coming
you
out.
not becoming that wild self, which is like confident and loud and wants to dominate. And this is, to be honest, just a mental barrier. When you are with your friends sometimes, and you can even say that once you are a drink or two down, you do not have any inhibition, your confidence comes up and you're loud and enthusiastic. But whenever we go into these interviews, we start closing
Yeah,
up, become this very small person sitting on the seat and slow, just a little bit of hand gestures here and there. So this interview practice is really just for that. This is a practice where you open up. If you open up in the body language, where when you enter the room, you don't enter with the mindset that you're being judged. You enter the room with the mindset that you've already been selected. You already have 9 band. In here, you are going to make sure that the person who's sitting across the table listen to your thoughts and your opinions and about you. Like you are here sitting across the table, and there are going to be 10,000 people looking at you on the TV, and you are that celebrity on a TV show, and everything that you say matters. If you get into that mindset that everything I say matters, then you go in and you dominate. But if you go into the mindset that, oh my God, I'm going to be judged and I'm going to be scored, then you'll become this closed self, which will be like, and the more close you become, and less the band will become.
okay,
Anyways, you'll see that in the first half and in the second half, there was just a bit more energy and a bit more hand movement.
uh,
Let's see if we can pick that up in the second section. But more so in the second section, I would like to focus on some more things as well. So we have 3 questions that we're gonna go into in the part 2. I'll give you first one without telling anything, and once you answer this, same exactly. So you'll get 1 minute to prepare and 2 minutes to tell your answer.
all right,
After this, then I'll give you the feedback and tips, and then the next 2 questions will improve from there.
all right,
So this is the base case answer. I have typed the question in the chat. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Do you have pen and paper? 1 minute to prepare.
Except just it's gone from screen.
There should be some chat icon down in the mobile.
Just wait. Yeah, I got it. Describe a journey you want on. You should include yours.
Is there pen and paper to have 1 minute?
Yeah, I have.
So 1 minute starts now.
Okay. Okay.
You still have 30 seconds, so take your time.
All right.
Yep, there we go. So when you start, I'll start 2 minutes.
Okay. Today I would like to talk about the journey that I went on in 2014. That is, I went to Australia, Brisbane. Uh, at that time, I completed my masters and I need a break from my exams. So I got to know that my cousin sister's marriage is going to happen on July 14th. So I booked a flight for Australia and I went there with my father and mother. So it is a family function. So we enjoyed a lot there. And my cousins from Melbourne also came there, and they have joined us, and we enjoy their company also. So after that, after her marriage on the 14th of July, on the very next day, in the morning, early hours, we went to Gold Coast Beach, which is world famous beach. And my cousins want to show me that beach because it has a picturesque uh, beaches. It has around about 60 kilometers long beach, and the sea is totally blue, and waves were coming over there. So it was amazing experience for me. And after that, we went for skydiving over there with my cousin, and he want that we should enjoy this uh, activity because I also like bungee jumping. Me and my cousins were in India, we also enjoy bungee jumping in hilly areas in India. So he want to show me that if I jump there and how different it looks like from India, as we were jumping from high-rise building near the sea, and it was quite good experience for us.
That's
And okay.
yeah. All right. So let's look at first what went right. So what went right was that you had a very good 2 minute answer. So although the time ended, but you were also gonna just come to the end, and you
Yeah.
covered all the 4 points. So this is like a extremely big plus. The
Okay.
second good thing that happened was that you do not get stuck where then you're like and you don't do that. You have a very smooth flow to your sentences, and in an entire 2 minutes you went pretty smoothly.
Okay.
But there are few things that will result in no, okay, definitely not 8, but might even suffer for 7 as well. So let's look at those things.
Okay.
The most important thing is that there are two layers of answers. One, there is a surface layer, and then there is a one layer below. So what that means is the surface layer is where you went on the journey. So we went to Australia, Brisbane. Why
Yeah.
you went to this particular place? Because it was my sister's wedding. So your
Okay.
answer, when you listen to your answer, your first 1 minute of the answer was the entire surface layer where Australia, sister's wedding, cousins joined in, and we went to the gold cloth. Now, how to make it a better answer? So this same principle applies both in writing as well as in speaking, is that you invent details or you give more details about each prompt, and in your head spend about 20-30 seconds. So for example, where you went on your journey. For my journey, we went to Australia, Brisbane. We wanted to go to a place which is sunny, and I've never been to Australia before, and I've heard a lot about Australia. So Brisbane, from what I know, before even going to Brisbane, is this large sunny land with amazing beaches, and also because eventually I had plans to move to Australia, so I really wanted to experience how does it feel to live in Brisbane. So even what about where you went on your journey, give a proper contextual answer about not just one word, Australia, Brisbane. That's like a surface answer. Why you went to
like we give sub ideas in writing, right?
exactly.
One central idea and 2-3 lines and covering because or how, right?
Exactly. So why you went to this particular place? I went there because it was my sister's wedding, is your first line answer. But then there's a context. So my sister is 3 years elder to me. She shifted to Australia 5 years ago, and now she wanted to get married there. So we decided as a family that it would be a good family vacation as well if we all go to Australia. So it's like a proper one thing, but there's a lot of context around it. And it's very, very easy to get full 9 even in part 2 if you're just answering like I did each prompt 20-30 seconds, central idea, a lot of details around it, so on. Once you went into that beach and Gold Coast, then you went into the details. Then you actually went into a detail where you said it's miles of beach with blue line of water and sunny. So that part is good. So that part, when you look back in the video, is how the entire answer should be, ideas and a lot of context around it. So that's one way to, that will help you go from 7 to 8 plus or 8. But then the other big thing is the tonality, because
tonality problem.
a huge opportunity to have high tonality here, because you were telling about things like beach which is miles of blue coast. You could have like really used your full body language and said it was miles of blue water and amazing beach. Just go all in. Instead of that, once you look at your video, you realize you said these things in a way that it's like flipping a chapter in the book, which is like,
this is my problem.
Yeah, it's a miles of blue water, which was amazing, and then we went there. It was nothing. This is you. There was a research that when somebody is listening to anything that is being said, 83% of the mental image that is being formed because of the tonality instead of the actual words. So, for example, if you say it's miles of blue beach in Brisbane, no mental image. But if you say it's miles of blue beach in Brisbane, suddenly the listener's mind is like imagining a blue beach, miles in large. It's really that game. What it happens is that as a listener, they feel like you are the most wonderful speaker in the world, and 9, and that's how the game works. Because there are other bases as well about grammar, about sentence structuring, and you pretty much covered that. So you'll get your so they're like 25% each. So 25% of grammar and structure, all take 25% of answering all the prompts. Okay, that's done. And then you get into this game where the game is all about how complex your answer is, which means that more and more details rather than a surface answer, and the body language and tonality and all that stuff. There's just one more. Yeah, so two grammatical mistakes was every time you use he or she, you don't give a plural. So you said he want. Instead of that, there was he wants or he wanted.
He wanted, right.
Because one time you were talking about your cousin, and it was something in the past, so it should have been he wanted us to. So with all these, let's give a try in the second question and see how it goes. Okay, so it should be in your chat. Once you start planning, let me know. I'll start the 1 minute timer.
Okay, I'm going to start now.
Perfect. 15 seconds left.
Okay. Okay, I'm ready now.
Okay, then let's start.
Okay, and today I would like to talk about social media. That is the most important part of the one's life nowadays. In this contemporary era, nobody can survive without social media. It is the most important or most impeccable part of everyone's life. It has so many benefits for every person's. If person is a businessman, or he's a job doing person, or person like he's a graduate, or children, adults, everyone's life, it has vast importance. For the businessman, it has importance of to develop his business, to do business all around the world with the help of social media, as he or she can provide details of his business and the directions to his situation or the place its business is established. And for the adults or the people who are doing their jobs, they get regular updates of their job opportunities. And for the children, they can join uh, their friends on social media whenever they are free. And it has so many harmful effects also, as every garden has weeds, so like that it has also some harmful effects, because it leads to privacy concerns, because most of the people do not go for privacy settings in their networking sites. For example, social media sites are Facebook, Instagram. Some people copy their pictures from there and do some cartoons and make some cartoons of their pictures and display these pictures to them, which is not quite good for them. And after that, there are to
That's
my in my life. Okay.
okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is, I am glad we did that, because this is where person gives a good answer and realize that the score is very low. And that
Yeah.
happens once you're not able to answer the question completely.
Yes, I completely exaggerated all the questions.
Yes, in this example, you only answered 50% of the question, which was benefits and harms, and the rest of the 50% is not answered.
Yeah.
There is no mistake that will affect your score more than not completing the full answer.
Okay.
So, in here, the thing that went wrong was right from the start, the first 35 seconds were spent even before you went into the benefits. The first 35 seconds were about social media has a lot of benefits. It has benefits for the businessman, for the job person, for the children, and the case is being built even before you went into the benefit for the business. You spent first 35 seconds into speaking about things which you're not required to. So
Yeah.
you were our introduction gives us absolutely 0 marks in part two. So even if you start with something like, okay, let's talk about the benefits first, that's perfectly fine. Or
Yeah.
if you don't, you can of course say, like you always do, that okay, social media has a lot of benefits and it has affected our lives in a lot of ways. So then you go into the benefits. So some people
Okay.
prefer to give that opening statement like you do as well. which is perfectly fine, but realize that giving an opening statement does not have any extra marks.
Okay.
But your introduction went for 35 seconds. That 35 seconds time wasted for 0 marks. You actually
Okay.
started scoring once you started answering the benefits, which was for the businessman, they can keep a track of their statements, so on and so forth. So benefits, once you were in the benefits, it was fine. You took about 35, 40 seconds, about 40 seconds for harms as well, although I think that's too much still. But it's fine. You could have done better time management if you just take the introduction out of it.
Okay.
That's where the big part went wrong. Uh, the second thing, a technique I'm going to introduce is called closed loop strategy.
Okay.
Closed loop strategy is that even before you tell the benefits or harms, or for that matter, reasons to do anything, positives or negatives, anything, always start with, okay, so I have two benefits that I'm going to talk about. First, that it helps to keep track record of our statements, so on. And second, it helps children to watch videos and share their pictures. The point is that you first create this shell where you say the two things I'm going to talk about, or two harms, or a couple of harms, or three harms. You create that big number, and then you go step by step, firstly and secondly, one and two. Why this is important? This is important because in the listener's head, if you just start speaking, listener does not know that how many benefits are going to come, or how many harms are going to come, or how many reasons you're going to put up. So listener is always in two phases. One phase, he or she is listening to you, and second phase, he is thinking about the next question, or he's thinking about whatever his response is going to be. But if you start with a closed loop strategy and you say, I'm going to talk about two benefits, then the listener has 100% attention, because now he's going to sit back and he knows that you're not going to finish until you say, firstly, whatever, da da da, secondly, da 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 da. So in real life, in anything, if you give a structure to whatever you're going to say, it could be even as simple as, so when you were giving the example of going to the Gold Coast, if you just said, so there were a couple of things that I really enjoyed in Gold Coast. First, XYZ. Second, blah, blah, blah. Once you start learning to put everything in structure, you'll see that the person, anywhere you go, will start feeling that you are the best speaker in the world. And they won't even realize why. It's because their head is at ease when they're listening to you. They are feeling some kind of joy in watching a good content or listening to a good content, as
Okay.
compared to a random chaotic order in their head when they're like, this person is starting from somewhere, going somewhere, they don't know when they is going to start or end.
Yeah.
Uh, so they're always thinking about their response, what they have to say, so on and so forth. It's a mess.
Okay.
So remember this, it's going to get used a lot more in the part 3 as well, when a lot of questions will be about your opinions. So
So, one question is there.
yeah,
If just I'm going to start cue card, right?
yeah.
Like you were saying, for introduction, how many lines I have to speak in front of the examiner for the introduction? Like the cue card was about social media, right?
Yeah.
So, from the question that is about benefits, before that I have to speak about social media for two, three lines, or how
Not
long I
at
have
all.
to?
So you're not required to talk about anything outside of the prompts at all.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
can literally start your answer with, let's talk about the benefits first. So the
Okay.
first benefit is da, da, da. You can, but in
Okay.
your head, if you just want to speak anything about introduction, just give one line, which is,
Okay.
I think social media has affected our lives a lot. Let's
Okay.
talk about benefits first. So
Okay.
you just give like one big line, just rephrasing the question in a way, and get
Okay.
into the prompts, because
So,
marks are.
actually, my question is that we have no marks for introduction, right? We have marks only for the questions that we are covering and how structured way we are covering those
Yeah,
questions, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So
The structure is like just like you said already in writing section. like whatever I am going to explain, first I have to give the main idea, and after that the sub ideas,
Exactly.
right? Okay.
Exactly. So 25% of all the marks are whether you have answered the question completely or not.
Okay.
So by completely, it means all the 4 prompts. So that's
All.
25%.
Okay.
25% of the marks are about this structure and how well you have answered. And
Okay.
then the rest of the 50% is half is divided into grammar and stuff like that, another half into other, how complex your sentences are, so on and so forth.
Like
Uh,
tonality and body language also.
yeah, all that stuff.
Okay.
So, so that's how it will go. Let's
Okay.
try to see if you can hit a 8 in the last example of part 2.
Okay.
So whenever you start your 1 minute, let me know.
Mm, yeah, I'm going to start now.
Should we start?
Yes. So here I'd like to talk about the skill that I want to develop in me. That is the language and the software that includes my study literature material. That is about PLC, programming, logic, and control. It is about the devices that are being used in the industry nowadays all around the world. So I got opportunities to do job in any part of the job, in any part of the world. So it is the basic requirement of one's life that if he or she is a engineer, then he should learn this language. After that, I planned this. Actually, I need to get software for this. I need to buy software from online websites, and I need one laptop also to completely do this stuff as my own. And but I prefer to go to some institute so that I can learn every skill in proper manner. So my there was no plan according to me for to learn this software. But my friend told me that is already in abroad, that it has vast opportunities over there, so I can learn it from here, as in India it is cheap to learn this skill. So I planned later on that I have to go to institute to learn it. And after that, I would like to say that my future plan is to go on migration basis to abroad, either in Australia or in Canada. So it has a profound scope over there to get a job in electrical engineering if you know that programming, logic, and control of any devices that are being used in the industry. So I would prefer to get this skill as soon as possible, so that it would be helpful for me in future to get jobs over there.
But it's a great answer. It's a great answer. I think this is easily 7.5, even in 8 answer. And I'll tell
Okay.
you why. One is that you answered, of course, all 4, but you even paced them very well, that it took you about 40 seconds to finish the first, 20 seconds to do the second. By that time, you were exactly at 1 minute mark. Then a
Okay.
perfect 30-second for the third prompt and about 35 seconds for the fourth. Now, just a few things that will that you can improve to get into 8. One is that do not wait for the instructor to say it's 2 minute mark, because
Okay.
if you can finish at anywhere between 1 minute 45 seconds to 2 minutes, that bracket yourself and say, so that is why I want to learn this skill, or that is the
Okay.
skill that I want to learn. And
Okay.
you end your sentence then it shows a masterclass answer. This is the answer which has been perfectly structured, perfectly timed, and the person was in control. If the examiner has to stop you, then the control shifts away and the examiner feels that this person might have like 1 minute of more stuff to speak. So they never get to know because they'll not listen to you after 2 minutes. They'll just abruptly cut you.
Okay. Is there any penalty if I stop 1 minute and 45 seconds?
A lot of debate on that. Uh,
Okay.
Generally, the way you answered 2 minutes, there
Okay.
will not be any penalty because there was a general sense that you have covered everything.
Okay.
But if you've just, let's say, started the fourth prompt and you are being
Okay.
cut, then yeah,
Okay.
then there's a penalty that this
Okay.
person did not had a proper structure and time management.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but otherwise it's fine once you get a feeling that this is also already coming to an end. However, if you can finish yourself with a proper closure, then that's a plus. Then that's a
Okay.
plus. Yeah.
Okay.
The second thing is that you'll see as you listen to yourself in video that there's a one big fundamental hack which is tell, don't speak, but you
Yes.
spoke this answer to yourself. By that I means by that I mean that what you when you started, telling about you want to learn PLC. So no, these are the things that. So let's say you say I want to learn PLC, which is a kind of programming language. These are the things that once the listener is listening, now their mind is just starting to construct the image of PLC, an algorithm, a language used in computers. So they're just, somewhere there. And by the time they realize within next 5 seconds, you have already covered what equipment is needed. Because you are going in your flow. I want to learn PLC because it is used for Java programming. I don't need much instead of just laptop for this. So you're going in your flow. This is speaking to yourself, what I say.
Okay.
Telling this to someone, then you go step by step. So the
Okay.
skill I want to learn is PLC. This is a kind of programming language which is used in conjunction with Java.
Okay.
Pause. And then,
Okay.
so there are pauses built in your answer, and those pauses are the pauses for the listener's mind to keep following you in your answers and keep
Okay.
having that image of what you're trying to say.
Okay.
So yeah, and again, if you the tonality, of course, is not there, but if you're able to build tonality with this
Okay.
of pauses that is,
Okay.
you tell the other person instead of speaking, that will with the same answer that will put you +8 because otherwise the answer is perfect. There is nothing to improve in the answer. It's absolutely perfect. If these
Okay.
things can incorporate, it will be an 8+ answer.
Okay. Actually, I didn't have lunch today, so on my speaking day, I will get some energy drink first. Then I usually go to speaking.
Agreed. But
Yeah.
it's the mental game. If you enter the room so enthusiastic that 10,000
Yeah.
people are gonna look at me and
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit and kill it, God, you'll kill it. But if
Yeah.
you go
That's true.
there,
That's right.
yeah, it's a huge thing.
Yes.
Okay, let's try a bit of high energy in the part 3. You've already covered the bases. There's nothing new to learn here. Use better structuring, use closed loop strategy, use body language and being enthusiastic, and answer these 4 and 5 questions. And I'll tell you roughly how much they're going to score depending on your answer.
All right.
The first question is, what do you value and not value in other people?
The main thing I value in other people is that how punctual he is and how he react to other people, how behave he with other people. And the thing I don't like in other ones that the people who are not loyal to their partners or their family as well as the job they are doing.
Okay, so again, this is a good surface level answer. The proper answer will be, I don't like how people behave with other people. So, for example, the other day I was with my friend and he behaved in an XYZ way with certain people, and you give a more meat in there, and then you move on to what is one value that you don't like about other people. So remember
Okay.
part 3, every question needs to have the basic idea and a context. Basic idea and a context.
Okay. Can we give an example in every answer
You
in
are
part three?
encouraged to give. You're encouraged to give. Yeah.
Okay.
So either give
Actually,
an
last
example.
time I gave an example, the examiner was little bit tough with me. Actually, he was asking why. So I want to cover his why, and I say, for example, like most of the people, he was asking about some people that who are popular nowadays.
Okay.
So I gave an example of Robin Sharma, that 5 a.m. club. I read 5 a.m. club, and he's the motivational speaker. So that was satisfactory for him.
Right.
then
Yeah.
then he got it.
That's
Yeah.
I think it's a great the best answer is always uh so person you are more in, so what was his question about the famous people?
He was asking that why you following famous people?
Okay, perfect. So
Yeah.
yeah, the best answer is why you follow a famous person,
Yeah.
because follow famous people because of the motivation factor and
Yeah.
the content they produce. So for
Yeah.
example, Robin Sharma 5 a.m. Club, it has helped me in my life in getting more punctual when waking up. Fine.
Yeah.
There's an answer, there's a context.
Yeah.
Uh, and if possible, a story, a personal example, so on and so forth. So
Okay.
parts.
We can also give personal examples also here,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
So part three
Okay.
is all about that. The questions are usually opinionated, so you
Okay.
have opinion, but you need to give us some meat, 3 4 lines around that opinion.
Okay.
So, for example, next question is: in your opinion, do you think that opposite personality people can be life partners?
Uh, well, I don't think so, because opposite persons can't live with each other for even 1 hour or 2 hours, because they don't have understanding about their life, or they have same structures like. Uh, Sorry, I don't know actually about this answer.
Okay, so no, so
Yeah.
this is never. So you are allowed to take delay. You're
Okay.
allowed to even completely change your answer. So, for example, you were saying that,
Okay.
in my opinion, opposite personality people should not be life partners because they can't even tolerate each other for 1 or 2 hours. So,
Hmm.
for example, and then you forgot, and then you can go back, you can backtrack. So, in my opinion, it will be difficult for two people to share same household because they'll be always fighting over small things like who's going to do the dishes, who's going to cook. So you can completely come back and go in another direction. That is fine.
Okay.
But whichever direction you're going and you forget what you were supposed to say and your mind does not give you answer, never stop and say, sorry, or I don't know the answer. This is a wrong answer. There
Okay.
you got a zero for this. But if you
Okay.
steps back, start going in some other direction, that's fine, not a big issue.
All right.
So never give in as if that once you lose the answer.
Okay.
How do you think internet has changed the way we work?
Internet has changed the way in everyone's life, that because with the help of internet, most of the people nowadays prefer to work at their home, and they work more hours as compared to the past, because most of the work has been done by people on the internet, from their home also, as well as in their office hours. So it has changed completely the people the working style, according to according to the people they were working in the past.
All right.
Yeah.
Again, this answer can also become an 8 plus answer by one, adding the closed loop strategy, which is, in my opinion, there are two ways that comes to my mind
Yeah,
about
I forget.
change how the first is work from home, and then second, even if you don't know the two beforehand, just
Hmm.
say two, give the first, and trust your mind that by the time you'll reach, you'll find out another reason. So
Okay.
for easy answers, you have to trust your mind and then create a closed loop initially, even if you don't have two opinions.
Okay, we can apply closed loop strategy in follow-ups in part 3 and or part 1 also.
Oh, you can apply anywhere. What
Okay,
are
in any section, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. What are the advantages of your city? Part one
Okay.
question. So just tell
Okay.
you. two things that I love about my city. One is this,
Okay.
second is that.
Okay.
Also, I've noticed that the moment I ask the question, you start the answer. You
Yeah.
are allowed to take
Okay.
2, 3, even 5 seconds to structure your answer and then come up. So that's also fine.
Okay. Okay.
So, if the moment I ask you, how has internet changed, you can be like, work from home and communicate with people, blah, blah, blah. And you have a quick 2 second thought, 2, 3 second, and then okay, there are two reasons in my head the internet has changed, and then you get into the first one, which is work from home, and second one.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. So have a again, answering quickly, fastly. These things do not have marks. Marks
Right.
are for better structures, for better answers, for more contextual answers rather than surface level. So it's the different things that you're being judged at.
Okay.
Last two questions. Do you think terrorism is the biggest harm in today's world?
Yes, terrorism is the biggest harm nowadays because
Sorry,
all around the world.
I'll just cut you here again.
Okay.
You
Yeah. It's
didn't
just I
finish the
started right.
answer. So take two,
Okay.
3 seconds. Have your
Okay.
couple of reasons what you're gonna say about terrorism, then start. So yeah, you can start again.
Okay. Please repeat the question.
So do you think terrorism is the biggest harm in today's world?
According to me, this is the biggest harm around the world as the many people are indulging in terrorism, as most of the young people are indulging in terrorism because they want to get more money with the easy methods of their doing jobs. They do terrorism. They are following terrorism like they are doing job, and they want to get easy money from this kind of stuff, so they prefer to go in that direction, which is wrong for the future development.
Last question. Do you think traveling to other countries can change the way people think?
Yes, to other countries, whenever one travel to other country, they get exposure from there, and they can get good things from there, which can they can apply to their own life, and the better lifestyle, also the infrastructure they see there, they can apply that infrastructure to their own life.
All right. So to recap, I the context is there. So meat is there. There's fluency. There's a very simple 7.5 guy aura. What
Okay.
I would love you to work on from here onwards, and especially when you look at this video again, is
Okay.
that you'll see that after the second part of part one, where we talked about body language and you sat like this and you started putting up again, it went down, 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 and by the time
Yeah.
it's part three, it's a very shoulder down, very
Yeah.
low in energy. So one thing I want you to work on, that 15 minutes you have in the actual exam, 13 minutes maybe,
Yeah.
high energy, like the highest energy you can go on, just get into that phase and enter the room with as a confident person. Use
Okay.
the tricks that we have just talked earlier in the video about legs and everything to get your aura up. So that is a huge thing. And when your hand language, instead of hand language, so for you, hand language is something like just here.
Like, yeah, this, yeah.
Instead of that, open it up, go far away, go 1, 2, 3. I think terrorism is doing a big harm in today's world. Go all, like, use your hands around your body.
Okay.
Huge one. And then second is, remember these few tricks about closed loop strategy,
Close to, yes.
big one. And the other is, for almost every question, especially part two and part three, there is a central idea and then there's a lot of context around it. And
Yes.
that makes it a better answer than a surface level answer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Grammar sometimes do fluctuate, but I've seen it's usually on a very simple things like, as we mentioned before about he want. So instead of he
Yeah.
want,
Yeah.
similar a few in the terrorism part as well. Once you look at the terrorism answer, you'll see that instead of having the full sentence where people choose terrorism because it's an easier money as compared to doing jobs, you have taken a few words out, which is like people don't like jobs, so they choose terrorism. It's like you, instead of making a full sentence. Sometimes you pick up some words out of it and then just have the chunks of the sentence there.
Okay.
So these are things that you can, if you, so once you look at this video and once you train your mind a bit, if
Okay.
you do work on that, I don't see why you're not gonna get 8. 8 is pretty much in the cards.
Okay. So
And
my requirement is 7, but if I score 7.5, then I can reach up to CLB 9.
okay, yeah,
Yes.
perfect.
Yeah.
Let's try for
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah. But
10.5.
according to you, if I finish questions like you were saying, then I will score 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a few things to be done, like tonality and
Tonality, body
body
language, and
languages.
closed loop strategy.
Yeah.
And
So
one thing I also do whenever examiner asks questions, and I don't wait for 1 to 2 seconds. I will wait. This time I will wait.
yeah, wait,
Yeah.
because starting quickly has no extra marks, but giving a
Okay.
thoughtful answer, these things have marks.
Okay. So I will have first energy drink also on that day.
Yeah,
Then
dude,
I will
it's
go for exam.
absolutely. And 15
Yeah.
minutes, give all in your 15 minutes. That's like the final of your hockey match.
Hockey
And
match, right?
last 15 minutes left, and it's a golden
Yeah.
goal. Whoever goal
Yeah.
scores first. So
Yes.
all in.
Actually, I want to share some personal experience with you.
Sure.
Whenever I was in 12th class, and our match was final, and there was 1-1 draw. After that, their penalties were going on, and we have 5-5 penalties. And
Okay.
after that, and there was a penalty that was sudden death, and that totally depends upon me. And there was a
Right.
crowd around about 2,000 people around me, and they were watching me that if he can goal or not. That
And
was and I goal, and we won that match.
what a
That
moment, man.
was,
What an
yeah, but
experience.
I can't forget that moment in my life.
So good to see. That's a good
Yeah,
story.
yeah. It
All right.
was a personal
Wait
experience,
for
mine.
Perfect. I'll wait for your essay then, whenever
Okay.
you can. When is your IELTS again?
Actually, I'm giving IELTS tomorrow. My exam is tomorrow on Saturday, and but my speaking exam next week.
Okay.
That would be on 6th of June.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah. So this time, actually, last time I know I did mistake. You told me in videos that we should not include any formal line in informal letter, right?
Okay. I mean, that's,
And
yeah.
yeah,
But
and I put that line that I look forward to hearing from you. That was
okay.
about friends letter,
No.
and I
That's
did wrong.
fine. That's fine. And these things don't get penalized. So if you use
Okay.
a formal language in a semi-formal letter, or even in an informal, you ended by saying, "I look forward to hearing from you." That's fine. These are
Okay.
small things. They don't
Okay.
matter as much as,
Okay.
again, the big things are how the sentence structures are there, how the grammar is being used. Have you answered
Okay.
all the questions?
And
It's
one thing I want to clear that whenever the essay is about advantages and disadvantages, right? In
yeah,
the introduction, we write rephrase, first we do rephrase, and after that we write thesis statement.
yeah,
And after that, we should write that if I completely agree or I completely not agree or disagree, right?
yeah.
We have to include these 3 lines in introduction,
Oh, yeah.
right?
So you
Okay.
paraphrase it, and even 2 lines are fine. The 2 lines that matter is paraphrasing the question and giving
Yes.
your stance that I agree with that the
Okay.
advantages are more than the disadvantages, or vice versa. So these
Okay.
two are important. You can have it an extra line as well, but these two should be there.
Okay. These two should be there, and we should or should not include a thesis statement there.
Oh no, that is the thesis. The thesis statement is that, in my opinion, the
Okay.
advantages are more than the disadvantages.
Okay. Okay. I was thinking that thesis statement is different, and that statement I
Oh
agree
no,
that is
this is
different.
thesis. Thesis
Okay.
is
Okay.
thesis is your opinion for that, and your
Okay.
opinion, yeah,
That
your
is,
mind.
and in the conclusion, I got sometime problem like when I write in conclusion, like advantage, disadvantage answer, and I am on the side of advantages, right?
Okay,
So in conclusion, when I write, first I write about advantages, then disadvantages also.
Do
in
not,
brief.
no, don't write about disadvantages. So your conclusion is, in
Okay.
conclusion, the advantages of blah, blah, blah are more than
Okay.
the disadvantages,
Okay.
because summarize advantage one, summarize advantage two.
Okay. Okay.
Just like 2 lines or 1 line. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this time I hope I will get
I
seven.
hope as well,
Actually,
man.
on 9th of February, I was totally like I will not get 7 bands because at that time I completed my essay task writing task in total 60 minutes. I didn't give any proofreading or after
Oh,
that like a
I
point
can't
0.5
even
band.
tell you, I write
Yeah.
so much, but even every time after
Yes.
writing, once I recheck it, every 200 to 300 words will have 2 to 3 proper mistakes. Could be spelling mistakes, could be completely a word missed out.
Yeah.
And then I can't believe that so many students send me their essays without rechecking, and I can see right there that if they had rechecked, they would have caught 5 to 10 mistakes themselves.
Okay.
And similar, and we do this all the time in the actual exam as well, that
Okay.
we lose between half a band to 1 band just by not rechecking it. So that is like as important as writing itself.
Yes, that moment was totally different for me at that time when I see my result that I got 7 in writing. It's incredible. That's
Good.
why I send you email after that I got
Awesome.
7 in writing.
Now let's do it, man. I hope you get your required band, whether that's
Yeah,
each, and let's aim for that.
yeah, okay,
Okay, then have a good day.
okay.
And
Thank you for your help.
like for tomorrow, you can see the record. You can download the recording today, but see it next week before your speaking.
All right.
Okay, perfect. Have a good day.
Have a good day. You too.